Week 3 in the books in the National Football League. Week 3 included the Chiefs getting back to their winning ways, the Jets staying in their losing ways. We have the arrival of Caleb Williams finally a year too late. Eagles find another way to win once again. The Steelers steal one from the Patriots. The Browns truly take one from the Packers. So much more, so much to get into. This is week 3 of Productive Conversations weekly recap in the NFL. This is me, Matt Brown, and the world's a better place because you're here to join us. And let's talk about week 3 in the National Football League. As we are getting ready, fall's officially began. We're having the crisp fall air. So let's recap what took place in another crazy week in our favorite sport. So NFL week 3 recap about to take place shortly, but I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcast platforms and YouTube. And don't forget to check out exclusive content regarding the show across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, at Productive Conversations Podcast, X and Twitter at PodComboPod. We're on TikTok at Productive Conversations and Facebook at Productive Conversations. And as always, don't you forget to check out our sponsor, Magic Mind, the world's first productivity shop. If you're like me, juggling with life, work, podcast, content, and having a social life and just trying to do your best in this world, I highly recommend using Magic Mind as one of the things you can use to enhance your life for the better. It's a green tea shot filled with matcha, nootropics, other special vitamins and ingredients to help give you a clear mind. If you're having a foggy mind, that fogginess goes away. You stay calmer. You feel more confident in yourself and what you're about to do. And yeah, I really recommend you checking out Magic Mind and check out the great benefits it's given me and the rest of the show staff. So go to magicmind.com/PCJune for 40% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. That is magicmind.com/PCJune for 40% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. Magic Mind, reclaim your brain. Check out the episode description below for the link as well. But yes, as I said, we're about to kick off a new week. Also available, not only we have our week 3 recap of the NFL season, which is about to take place in a couple of seconds, but you could also check out our week 4 recap of the college football season as well. That's me and Ryan talking all things college football in week 4 of the National Football League. And then we can also discuss the what's about to be trending this week. So check us out on Tuesday to check out some trending topics and what's going on, whether an update on the Kimmel stuff or a movie we saw or some life questions. Check that out on Tuesday, our weekly recap of the biggest trending stories taking place in the world of sports, news, entertainment, and culture. The biggest and trending stories that happened this past weekend. We will just have a discussion about it. And then check us out on Friday for our discussion about what's trending during the week. So again, we will see you on Tuesday with our tweet cap recapping what took place this past weekend. And then on Friday, we'll do the exact same thing, recapping what took place this week. And then starting next week, we'll have our baseball coverage. One final week of baseball is this week, and then we'll start extensive postseason coverage. We will recap every single Met and Yankee playoff game, just like we did last year. We went very deep in October last year doing that. And hopefully we do the same this year. Only one of our teams wins the World Series. You know I want the Yankees specifically. So we'll see what happens there. But they're looking good. They are looking good. But that will be all October long. We'll do a lot of baseball then. But for now, let us recap week 3 of the NFL season. And let us start with the Sunday night game in the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. Kansas City wins by a score of 22-9. This game was a defensive struggle for both teams as the Kansas City Chiefs and New York Giants entered week 3, both going in 0-2, and they both desperately needed a win. And it was the Chiefs who pulled away in the second half, securing their first victory of the season. But yeah, Turnovers was the name of the game. Giants turned over the ball 2 times due to a Russell Wilson interception. And the Chiefs themselves also had some major turnovers. They had 2 fumbles, both by Patrick Mahomes. And they were both recovered by the Chiefs, so missed opportunity for the Giants there, especially the play where Mahomes fumbles the ball. It's in Brian Burns' hands, and then Patrick Mahomes takes it from him. That could have been a fumble recovery for a touchdown, and that would have changed the whole momentum of the game. That killed our momentum, and then the other momentum killer was at the right before the second half was ending. Mahomes throws an absolute bomb that turns into a pass interference from the up-and-coming Drew Phillips. But that pass interference got them back into the red zone, which led to a field goal. And yeah, the Giants want to make you pull your hair out in the Brian Daboll era. Absolutely disgusting. And for a game where both offenses struggled, especially in the first half. And Harrison Butker, on the day of Charlie Kirk's funeral, he honors his fellow Christian by getting 3 field goals. And though it was nice to see Cam Scadaboo score his first touchdown as a Giant, hopefully many more from there. That was really it for our offense, with the Giants becoming, a mess. Graham Gano gets scratched minutes before the game starts, so we don't have a kicker there. So what is going on with that groin injury? And then the missed field goal earlier in the game, another reason why we are a joke. But this clearly was the game for the Chiefs with their kicking squad, and Tyquan Thornton stepping up big. As I mentioned, no Rashid Rice, no Xavier Worthy. Someone has to step up. Somebody has to step up. No Worthy, no Rice. Somebody has to step up. And looks like Thornton was that guy. 71 receiving yards, and he scored a touchdown from Patrick Mahomes. Good stuff there for Kansas City. But yeah, Russell Wilson, tough night after an amazing week last week. Bro only gets 160 yards in the air, 2 major interceptions, and they stalled scoring drives for us. And yeah, I don't know if the Chiefs really did much by proving themselves in this game against a Giants team that's a mess. But at least this game shows us that Thornton will be a valuable option until Worthy and Rice comes back for Kansas City. But for the Giants themselves, in what's likely going to be a year where the Giants only get 1 or 2 wins because they have the very hardest schedule in the NFL. And in a game they could have won in week 1 and a game they should have won in week 2, and then in week 3 you lose a game you're expected to at least cover, that can't even happen. It's all the same stuff. No innovative plays by Brian Daboll. This Giants team is afraid to score when they're in the red zone, and it's always damn field goals. We could barely get touchdowns in the first 3 weeks, and we're going through the same cycle again and again and again, and something has to break. Just like they said in the Bear this year, if you want to break patterns, you got to break patterns. And even though it's still early in the season, we will obviously see Jackson Dart sooner rather than later if the offense continues to be this incompetent, if the offense continues to miss opportunities to score, if this offense continues to be boring as hell. We'll finally get the major changes we needed. And I would like to think the future is bright, but I've been seeing the same crap for the last 10 years of a Giants team with a struggling offensive line, with a quarterback that cannot fulfill his potential, and receivers never getting the damn ball. And in a game where the Chiefs were at their absolute weakest, a better game plan could have had them way more prepared and maybe even shock people. But they couldn't even cover the 5.5 point spread. And here we are again, another 0-3 start. Thank God there's at least something to look forward to a little later on. But again, I don't know if the Chiefs proved much I don't know if the Giants definitely didn't, but at least the Chiefs aren't 0-3, which that would have been something else, right? But Chiefs get their first win of the season. They'll try to go 500 next week. Giants, I don't know. I'm just going on with hopes and dreams, and thank God there's playoff baseball in New York to look forward to. And why don't we just knock out the other New York team? Oh man, this game between the Jets and the Bucs, this back and forth affair, with the Bucs taking an early lead, the Jets rallying late with 3 touchdowns in the final 10 minutes. 3 touchdowns in the final 10 minutes. And then you have this very clutch block field goal that turns into a touchdown where the Jets actually take the lead in the game. But they gave too much time for Baker Mayfield. He brings the Bucs down the field, gets them in the field goal range that winds up working out for them to get a walk-off field goal. Though we get a meme for life with Aaron Glenn showing his excitement, thinking he might have his first win as an NFL coach. Not quite. We have seen time and time again that Baker Mayfield is clutch. He could get his team in the right spots. He could get his team in field goal range when they need it. He could get the team in the field goal range when they need it. Baker could get his team to field goal range when they need it. And look what happened. The Bucs win by a score of 29-27. But yeah, the 2-minute drill by Baker Mayfield set the tone, and he shows why he's him. He really is him, Baker Mayfield. What a disgusting loss. But I don't even know where to go, but the Jets has had a hard time protecting Tyrod Taylor today. Tyrod Taylor's disgusting 55-yard interception definitely set the tone. Sauce Gardner, man, is he a bust? Is he overrated? I mean, he had such a poor game. He gave up 3 catches for 60 yards. And though there was that questionable pass interference penalty, you just can't give a reason for the ref to throw the flag out there. And I mean, Fashanu couldn't protect Tyrod. And then the Bucs were just clutch all game long. Baker in the offense executed that 2-minute drill, and it led to the win. Man, ugly win for the Jets. What a terrible offense they have. Not protecting the quarterback, creating major turnovers, not getting the ball to the big weapons they have, not having a running game whatsoever. Where's Breece Hall? Where's Braylon Allen? Where's Allen? Where's Hall? And then the Bucs defense, they stopped the Jets when they needed to. And yeah, Baker Mayfield's 28-yard reception, and then Baker's 28-yard pass to Ibeka set up the game-winning field goal. And the Bucs continue to stay dominant. The Jets continue to be 0-3. What else is new? We had the Bears and the Cowboys. Very interesting Bears and Cowboys game, right? The Bears win by a score of 31-14. It was all about the Bears offense. Caleb Williams with his breakout performance. And while the Bears definitely had problems on defense, they allowed 4 turnovers. And while the Bears had trouble on defense, Caleb Williams with a 142.6 passer rating. Caleb Williams with 298 yards in the air and 4 touchdowns. That's how you know. The Bears defense, making Dak throw interceptions. Caleb Williams again with the monster breakout game that he had. Dak Prescott looking awful. The Cowboys defense had no answers for Caleb whatsoever. They weren't able to sack him once. They gave up big plays all game long. And Caleb Williams finally having that game we wanted him to have as a number 1 overall pick. Can he do it again? Obviously, we know what the Cowboys are missing on defense, but at least Caleb Williams showed when Ben Johnson's system works with all the great receivers that he has and this growing running game with Monangai and Swift and Roma Duze making noise. And then we also have, I'm sorry. And Caleb Williams making the most with his receivers with DJ Moore and Roma Duze. It shows that the Bears might have something on offense as long as things are clicking. And while there are some concerns with the Bears defense, at least we saw what the offense can do on a very, very good day, as long as Caleb is protected and as long as Caleb is showing the great abilities he has on offense. Great stuff today for the Chicago Bears. And then another ugly loss for Dallas. The Eagles and the Rams. I've been very vocal on how confident I am with the Rams. And after this game, I'm still confident. I still think that the Rams are going to get better as the weeks go on. I'm going to say they are going to go deep in the playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams are going to go deep. And despite losing to the Eagles by a score of 33-26 in a dramatic comeback, the Eagles gave up a 19-point lead in the second half specifically as well. And thanks to 2 blocked field goals by their defensive linemen, and we have now an iconic picture of Jalen Carter running into the end zone with that fumble recovery for a touchdown that we will never forget. And sorry, despite the Rams giving up 19 points in the second half, despite the Rams giving up those crucial plays on special teams, I still think that if they could come up with a better game plan, that they still will be fine. And you have one of the best in the business, is Sean McVay, doing that. But yeah, this game gave us an iconic picture with Jordan Davis with that fumble recovery for a touchdown. That was pretty sick. I'm sure that killed some backdoor covers, but that is betting. What can I tell you? But the Rams' major problems, if they could just fix those stupid mistakes, especially, and get a better kicker, Joshua Carty with 2 missed field goal attempts, that is not how you win in the league. So literally, if you made only one of them, the Rams would be on top. But the Eagles stay undefeated. The Rams, I think, just need to obviously have a better game on the offensive line. They need to have a better game on special teams. And they can clearly score points. This is now the second game in Philly, second game in a row in Philly where they lose in heartbreak towards the end. And one of these teams got to give next time. And I think if these two meet again in the postseason, the Rams will finally overcome the Eagles once and for all. Only time will tell there, so we will wait until then. Okay, 1 second. All right, let's go with the Steelers and the Patriots now. Steelers win by a score of 21-14. Patriots, with multiple turnovers throughout the game, stalled their chances. Oh, man, frustrating if you are a Pats fan. In the fourth quarter, Drake May had a chance to tie it, but the defense for the Steelers clamped him down. The Steelers look like this great defense we expect them to be, led by TJ Watt, who had a great game, by the way. Huge game for TJ Watt against the Patriots on Sunday. Aaron Rodgers with a big, decisive late game touchdown that led the game to be 21-14. And yeah, the Patriots gave it one more shot, but they weren't able to do it. And a tough loss for the Pats. Steelers, again, trying to figure out what they are exactly, especially defensively. But after giving up 30-plus points in their first 2 games, only giving up 14 points from a growing offense is something that should impress you and make you very happy. The only thing I just worry about Rodgers, obviously, he's never going to be the same. Bro is in his early 40s now. He's throwing interceptions, something he would never do early in his career. But obviously, when you have DK Metcalf, as long as James Warren and that running game is pushing the ball, is moving the ball downfield, I think they should be okay. But yeah, this was a big game to see the return of the Steelers defense. This team will go only as far as their defense will allow them to be. So having a game where you only give up 14 points is crucial for Pittsburgh. Very, very crucial. The Bills and the Dolphins from Thursday night, right? Obviously a lot closer than people thought. A back and forth game to the end. Could Miami pull off this upset at Buffalo? Well, not quite. But with 10 minutes left in the game, Miami had a penalty on a punt, had a crucial penalty on a punt that would give Buffalo a second chance that would lead to the Khalil Shakir touchdown. And with only 3 minutes left in the game, trying to make one last push, a crucial Tua interception sealed the win for Buffalo. Miami now 0-3. Though it's definitely been the best they've looked in the past few weeks, especially with Tua. I mean, they're still having a hard time running away with the game. They're still having a hard time putting up points. What is Tua ultimately? You're stuck with him. You paid him, and you need him to, step up. Probably with most likely a disgruntled Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddles hasn't been found. HA is doing what he can in the past few weeks, but the Miami Dolphins are clearly a mess. Huge, huge mess. And for the Bills, I think the Bills just had a slip-up game, if you will. It happens to all great teams. Again, it's well documented that the Bills have the easiest schedule in the NFL. So I do think it'll be okay if they play like this for the weeks to come. Then we'll have a conversation. But I just think it was a bad day for Buffalo. They don't cover, but I think again they're going to be okay. The Texans and the Jaguars, a heartbreaker for Houston fans. Jacksonville wins by a score of 17-10. And it was an excruciating and long game throughout the first couple of quarters. But when the game was tied at 10 with 358 left in the game, a bad fumble by Nico Collins at Jacksonville's 31, forced by Tyson Campbell, that killed the momentum. A very bad Nico Collins fumble. A very bad Nico Collins fumble ultimately cost Houston the game. After that, after the recovery, Trevor Lawrence just led the Jacksonville Jaguars down the field. Trevor Lawrence led Jacksonville down the field, which also included a huge Brian Thomas Jr. 46-yard reception. Then they had ETN run the touchdown in, and it was Jacksonville who goes out on top. The Texans had one more chance. What could CJ Stroud do? People arguing that he is declining already in year 3. A sophomore slump season despite making the playoffs, and then having a very bad first 2 games of the season. Well, what can CJ Stroud do to shut the haters up? Throw an interception to Antonio Johnson, and that cost the game. Ooh. Again, I think we all should have the conversation. What is CJ Stroud? I know he's had his receivers come in and out. No Tank Dell, no Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins is still there, but when your best receiver has a terrible fumble in the game, what else can you do? Who else can you throw it to? CJ Stroud, I still think the jury is out on him. I don't think he's a bust yet. He clearly shows that he's talented and he has it in him with a strong and accurate arm, but the receivers have to step up for him. They have to create separation. They have to make sure they don't create turnovers, and they got to help CJ Stroud out. CJ Stroud will be fine, but you can't keep doing this, bro. You can't. My man, Daniel Jones, right? Another great Daniel Jones win today. The Colts are 3-0. How about that, everybody? The Colts are 3-0. Jonathan Taylor with count them, 3 big touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. Whether it was a long run or a big reception, Jonathan Taylor, obviously the MVP of the game. The Titans never kept it close. I mean, the Colts dominated once again all game long. And Daniel Jones continuing to impress people around the league. And when you have ugly giant losses like we did this past week, a game like today against Tennessee will make your Colt fans feel make Colt fans feel happy, and Daniel Jones haters shut up. But I mean, yeah, let's look at this again. 228 yards in the air, 18 for 25 and a touchdown, and Jonathan Taylor did the rest. Oh, good stuff. 41 points for the Colts offense. The Titans still rebuilding. Cam Ward hasn't done anything impressive yet. We will still wait until that day happens. But man, the Titans really don't help him out, it seems. The Browns and the Packers, right? Talk about a game that got away. Oh man, very close throughout. Down 10-3. Jordan Love throws a bad interception to Grant Delpit with 3:18 left during the fourth quarter. Then we had Junk Kids run in for the touchdown to tie it. The Packers with that 43-yard field goal blocked by Shelby Harris with 30 seconds left. Packers had a chance to seal the deal, but they get blocked. Not what you want to see. Then Joe Flacco, with all he has left, drove Cleveland down the field, got them into field goal range. Andre Smith with the 55-yard field goal winner, and the Browns upset the Packers. Football's funny like that. But yeah, Jordan Love was pressured all game long. Joe Flacco wasn't able to do much either, showing how lethal the Packers defense is. But ultimately, the Browns still do have when you have a generational player, Myles Garrett, you can see how different a game can really be when he is lined up in the neutral zone. But yeah, Joe Flacco giving what's good over there. Again, I think it was just a bad day for the Packers. They surely couldn't figure it out on offense. And yeah, Browns take advantage and they get a big win. And they have plenty to celebrate. A big win at home, too. So, good win for the Dog Pound. 49ers and the Cardinals. Ooh-wee, right? Game that cost me to lose a parlay. But again, that's my problem to worry about. But this game with a injured Mac Jones, it seems, right? And Kyler Murray not doing much either. But the Cardinals losing James Conner, very bad. Marvin Harris making crucial drops, very bad. And then the 49ers ultimately still without their star tight end and their starting quarterback and had a hurt Mac Jones playing in there. They were able to run away with it. Arizona had a 15-13 lead after what at one point looked like a really dumb safety that the 49ers put on themselves. But yeah, Mac Jones with everything he had left had clutch throws down the field from Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall, who has been having a great early season. Good stuff from Ricky Pearsall so far. And yeah, Eddie Pinheiro with the 35-yard field goal at the buzzer for the win. And the 49ers almost lose it, but a win's a win. Big win at home for San Francisco. And I think I would lose my mind if I was a Cardinals fan. Again, it was right there. They were able to prevent this offense from scoring. And I don't know if it was the injury that killed momentum or what. Or I don't know, is Kyler Murray really that good? A debate that we'll be having we've been having for years, and we'll definitely have more this year. But yeah, the 49ers in a sloppy game ultimately get the victory over Arizona. Chargers and the Broncos. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbum, some people I've heard call him. Well, not today. Broncos were up 20-13 in the fourth quarter. That was 2013. The Broncos were up 20-13. Herbert converted a huge 3rd and 10 to Cleveland. Herbert converted a huge 3rd and 10 play to Keenan Allen, and then a big game from the rookie in Hampton led to another big touchdown for Keenan Allen, and then it made it a 20-20 game. Huge 3-and-out from the Chargers defense, and then in the final drive, Herbert to the midfield, bringing him down. Then Cameron Dicker with the big 43-yard field goal as time expires, and the Chargers get a big, much-needed victory, and the Broncos are now 1-2. Broncos, for the second week in a row, lose at the buzzer in a field goal. They lose, and they won the first one last week. Got to take it back. Lose the second one, and then 2 weeks in a row they lose by field goals. Oh man. I just wish Bo Nix was able to lead this offense down the field some more. And the Broncos, with a strong defense, were having a hard time containing Justin Herbum, as people say. But ever since he started dating that celebrity, Herbert's had a great first 3 weeks of the end of his NFL season. Herbert's had a great first few weeks since we found out he's dating that influencer. Oh, the power of love, right? But a lot of props for Herbert in this game, especially having 300 yards, throwing a touchdown in there, and Keenan Allen coming clutch once again. Herbert using all his weapons there. Though a bad loss with Najee Harris tearing his Achilles, we hope that he recovers as soon as he can. I do think the Chargers are cooking up something here. And as long as Herbert stays healthy and can use all the weapons he has around him, then the Chargers are going to be a team to watch out for, especially in the AFC West. The Commanders and the Raiders, no Jaden Daniels, so that's a bummer from the start. But yet the Commanders still scored 41 points. All right, so Washington dominated both sides of the ball all game. Whether it was the punt return for a touchdown or the Jeremy McNeil's touchdown for a 60-yard touchdown run, they lose Austin Eckler, and then Bill and Nichols has a great game. Though Geno did as much as he can with Trey Tucker with his 3 touchdowns, is ultimately a bad defense and bad special teams costing them. I mean, you knew the tone was set after the Debo 69-yard kick return to start the game, and then they gave up the punt return for a touchdown as well, and all hell broke loose. Raiders were clearly outmatched with the backup quarterback, and Marcus Mariota looking like the old Marcus Mariota, the Oregon Heisman Trophy winner, making major runs down the field, getting the ball to his receivers. Definitely you have seen that the Commanders are in a good spot if Jaden Daniels can't play. Hopefully they get him back soon, which they expect, but ultimately big win for Washington. Not much to say with the Seahawks and the Saints. Not at all, really. I mean, this was a beatdown. 44-13. Seahawks were just running down the field, whether on special teams, whether they themselves were blocking punts. And the Saints just had no shot whatsoever. Couldn't make scores in the end zone. Spencer Rattler continuing to struggle. Sam Darnold still looking good. And not much of a surprise for the Saints getting their ass beat tonight. And then the Seahawks looking awesome. The Vikings and the Bears, right? The Vikings and the Bengals, right? What you'll remember the most about this game, week 3 in the 2025 season, Isaiah Rodgers. Rodgers has a pick 6 in the first quarter against the Bengals. He adds a fumble return for a touchdown as well. Isaiah Rodgers A stellar game on defense. Good for him. And the Bengals with no Joe Burrow really missed him. And Browning couldn't do a thing, unfortunately. Jamar Chase was not able to get the ball. Higgins couldn't get the ball. The running game wasn't working. A game to forget for Cincinnati. But yeah, Isaiah Rodgers was the star, no doubt the defensive player of the week. And they too, without their starting quarterback, Carson Wentz comes in the game, and he's awesome. Good to see Carson Wentz play a hell of a game and leading the Vikings to 48 points against the Bengals, who really exposed themselves and showed how bad their defense is. I mean, really, really bad. But Carson Wentz with 2 touchdowns. Jordan Mason getting 116 yards on the ground and 16 carries. Justin Jefferson in a return to form game with him, 5 receptions for 75 yards. And yeah, ugly, ugly, ugly. Browning with two interceptions. The leading rusher only had 21 yards in Perrine. Jamar Chase only had 50 receiving yards. The Bengals are in a lot of trouble, and they should make a trade for a quarterback clearly as soon as possible. Because already with the controversy with the front office and having players disgruntled and people holding out and still not improving the team where they need to be improved. If Burrow's really not back until December, if he's back at all, then you need to trade for a quarterback right away, whether it's Jameis Winston, whether it's Kirk Cousins, whether it's Gardner Minshew. There's a valuable backup quarterback who could step in as a quarterback one. Use Chase and Higgins alone to make big plays down the field and score points. You know what you have to do, Cincinnati? Make the move before it's too late and before everything is blown up. Oh, man. Ugly stuff for Cincinnati. And then, last but not least, the Panthers and the Falcons. Who saw this one coming? Nobody saw this one coming. The Panthers win by a score of 30-0. The Panthers were able to have a great offensive team, a team that includes Bijan Robinson, that includes Daryl Mooney, and Kyle Pitts if he ever wants to show his potential. Who would have thought who would have thought the Carolina Panthers would lead the Falcons to 0 points? 0. I mean, the Panthers dominated throughout. Special teams were causing muff punts, causing turnovers, blocking punts, or this guy Mike Jackson with a beautiful 57-yard field goal. Yeah, the defense shut him out. Michael Penix Jr. wound up getting benched. He could not get the ball to anybody, and it was a nasty disaster for Atlanta. I mean, really, really bad. And I know they've been hurt, and I know they've had trouble figuring out what their offense is, but Michael Penix Jr. can't not score a single point against the Panthers defense. You made them look lethal out there this Sunday. But football's funny like that. It'll humble you, and, that's where we're at with the Panthers winning by a score of 30-0. Carolina gets their first win of the season. And why don't we do our pick for Monday Night Football? A very, very great matchup. One I cannot wait to look. One I am looking forward to watching, and one that I think is going to be a hell of a game. The Detroit Lions are taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Detroit is a 4.5-point underdog. The Ravens are at home, and this could go either way. Man, I love Detroit. I love what they've been doing. I think they can bounce back. They have a good challenge against the Baltimore on the road. Who knows? Maybe it's don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but is this a Super Bowl preview? Time will tell. But at 4.5 points, I think I'm gonna go with Detroit. I'm gonna go with the underdog here. I think they could cover 4.5 points. I think the game will be close. Either they can outright win or Baltimore wins by a field goal, and that'll be it. But it'll be close, and it's going to be Detroit getting a big win, and then the Baltimore Ravens being in a surprising 1-2 spot. So give me plus 4.5 for Detroit. Well, that's our week 3 recap of the NFL season. We'll see you back here next week for a week 4 recap. And now we'll start to really see who is who. Usually after 4 or 5 weeks, we can figure out who are the good teams, who are the bad teams, who are the teams still trying to figure themselves out. And then by like week 8 or 9, we really know, but that's when we hit the halfway point. So we'll see who's who and what's what. But big 4th week ahead. It's already going to be week 4. Time's going fast. So let's not take it for granted. Again, if you want to check out our week 4 recap of the college football season, that's available on all podcast platforms and YouTube, dropping today. And then if you want to see us recap the big trending stories this week, check us out on Tuesday and Friday on the Tweetcap. Excuse me. So again, we have our week 3 recap available right now of the NFL season. A week 4 recap of college football, also available right now on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And then check us out on Tuesday with a recap of the biggest trending stories across sports, news, entertainment, and culture. That will be on Tuesday right here. And that'll be the same for Wednesday. Sorry, that'll be the same for Friday. So all the love, everybody. We'll see you next week. I love football.